This Is Us Explained. This Is Us Season 1 is about what love does in the dark. What happens when the people who love most fiercely also conceal most completely. The Pearson family is built on a series of managed truths. Rebecca hides William from Randall for 36 years. Jack hides his drinking until it breaks the marriage. Kate carries a guilt so heavy it has become the shape of her life. Every major wound traces back not to malice, but to love operating without transparency, protection that calculates what another person needs without asking them. The season's structural question is whether people who have built themselves around concealment can learn to be present, to each other, and to themselves.
This Is Us Season 1 is built on one structural thesis. Its form enacts its theme. The show conceals information the same way its characters do. 4 storylines run through the pilot before you realize they're all connected. It literally performs managed information before it starts talking about it.
And the deception is never cheap. Rebecca doesn't hide William out of cruelty. She's terrified of losing Randall. That fear is entirely human, which is what makes it so hard to be angry at her.
The season's whole architecture rests on one act. Weeks after the adoption, Rebecca secretly tracks William down. He's barely on his feet. She makes the deal. He stays out of Randall's life permanently. She never tells Randall she found him. And on his way out, William names the baby.
He names him Randall, after the poet Dudley Randall, whose work he used to read to Randall's birth mother on the bus. For 36 years, every time anyone says that name, they're invoking something William chose. His fingerprint on the one thing that follows his son everywhere.
And Randall never knows any of this. He spends his childhood asking strangers to roll their tongues, inventing imagined fathers, eventually hires a private investigator and tracks William down at 36, thinking he did it himself. He shows up with a rehearsed speech. He turned out great, doesn't need anything from this man.
It's armor, right? Performing triumph at someone who still has the power to hurt him.
Exactly. But William just doesn't defend himself. Quiet and honest, and that deflation dismantles every wall Randall built. He invites William home.
Right. He came to deliver a parting shot and ended up inviting William home. That choice, connection over conclusion, is the season's first and most consequential turn.
The secret cracks when Beth and William are in the basement with marijuana brownies for his chemo pain. William gets loose, mentions the book of poems Randall has had since infancy. Turns out William gave it to Rebecca in 1980. Beth does the math. She calls Rebecca's voicemail that night.
And Randall is one floor down, laughing with Kevin, with no idea.
At Thanksgiving, Beth gives Rebecca an ultimatum. Tell him today or I will. She doesn't. Randall slips out to retrieve jazz recordings as an act of love, finds an envelope in his mother's handwriting, reads the letter at the dinner table. He found out because he was doing something kind.
Which means Rebecca has no control over the moment, no prepared words. Her son reading her letter in front of the whole family. The secret exposed not through confession, but through tenderness.
His response is not what you'd expect. He walks out, spends days writing a numbered list of grievances. Then he accidentally drinks a psilocybin smoothie and hallucinates Jack.
What does the vision give him?
Not absolution, a different lens. Those 3 locks Rebecca always insisted on latching. She was always trying to keep the people inside safe.
The mushrooms do something the list couldn't. They strip the composure before he faces her sober. He reads the list, 36 years, 13,215 days, and stops. He names her loneliness instead of demanding her explanation, tells her he'll see her at Christmas.
Not forgiveness, a conditional ceasefire with minimum distance.
And the real closure doesn't come until William's memorial. Rebecca finally says it. She kept setting a future age, and every birthday she lost her nerve. Randall tells her he got enough to love William, to be loved back.
Memphis is the hinge of William's arc. Randall takes him knowing it's a goodbye trip. William says goodbye to Tess and Annie while they're still in bed, wants them to remember looking up at him, not down. He stops at the park where Jack's ashes were scattered and speaks to Jack out loud.
What does he say?
He thanks Jack for raising Randall to be the man he is. Then William dies with Randall at his side, and Randall uses Jack's calming technique on his biological father's deathbed. both hands cupping the head, breathing together. A tool Jack invented to calm Randall's childhood anxiety, passed through time to comfort the birth father.
Two father stories converging in one gesture. That's the season in miniature.
Randall calls him Dad once, the word that couldn't be said all season at the last possible moment.
The proof of change comes soon after. Randall quits his job with no plan, then tells Beth he wants to adopt a baby. He started the season controlling everything. He ends it unemployed, wanting to give a child what was given to him.
Jack's arc runs in the opposite direction. The flashbacks show us the model father first. The push-up pledge, the improvised Thanksgiving, the magic shirt, everything he built for that family. And then the season shows what that love costs.
I'd push back on that. Jack's love and his suffocation aren't separate things. They're the same impulse. Rebecca says it plainly. She needed something for herself without him in the way. He genuinely had no idea. That's not a defense. That's the wound.
Fair point. And that Valentine's Day fight is where it breaks open. Her bandmate Ben mentions to Jack that he and Rebecca once dated, as if Jack already knew. He didn't. She'd withheld the history deliberately.
He walks out and orders a drink, first in years. The show holds that image without comment. From there you see the chain, the relapse, the tour, driving to her show drunk.
The 1972 origin scene in the finale makes that so painful. Their first meeting, she walks out of a blind date because she simply has to sing. He arrives at that bar planning to rob the register and abandons it when he hears her. Two people being exactly themselves at the exact right moment.
And then the show cuts to 1997. Same two people, and they can't live together without damage.
Jack's doorstep speech before going to Miguel's. Connecting that bar in 1972 to the marriage in 1997 is one of the most precise acts of love in the season. And she's still sending him away.
Because both things are true at once. He has genuinely carried this family. She has genuinely been disappearing inside it. Neither of them is wrong, which is exactly why it breaks.
Kate's thread runs beneath all of this as the season's slowest burn. The weight loss journey, the Toby relationship, the surgery she backs out of, all with something heavier underneath. She encouraged drunk Jack to drive that night. He called her from the bar.
I'd actually frame Kate's story as the most underestimated arc of the season. It's not about weight. It never was. She's been carrying conscious guilt, not repressed trauma. She always had access to the memory. She just couldn't say it.
It does. And Kevin's arc is the loudest version of the same pattern, performing authenticity while running from the specific things he abandoned. Sophie, his brother, how badly he disappeared on Randall.
His real moment is near the end. 5 minutes before curtain, with the New York Times in the house, Randall calls and Kevin hears something wrong.
He walks out, goes to Randall's office, finds him in tears, holds him. The show cuts between Kevin holding his brother and Jack at the bar, one generation stepping up as the other slips.
That withholding is the season's most deliberate choice. The causal chain is visible. The drinking, the drive, the night of the show. But the show refuses to close it.
And the whole family is standing in that shadow, taking their first steps towards something new, not knowing how soon the ground shifts.